joining our first guest, Merrill David, author of the Wicked Awake series, and also the man behind Texas AuthorCon. So welcome to What's in the Box.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, it's great to get you on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to meeting you. It'll be a good time.
I'm excited to meet you too. I've met Eric at our first event, but I'm excited to meet you. And then we got a ton of new people coming that I'm excited about meeting them.
I was going to say, it's really exploded. You know,
Yeah.
You really did this amazing thing where we went from this kind of thrown together event of 14 people. And then now it feels like it's, just something else completely, with so many people coming and the buzz and people talking about it. And I think it's going to be a fun event for North Texas.
You're exactly right. And it's gotten to the point where I'm actually having to, and I hate it, I'm actually having to turn people away. I mean, I've probably turned 12 to 15 people away already. So I can tell that word is getting out about it. But you're right. This is going to be a completely different show or event from what last year's was. I mean, last year we just did it on a Sunday. We didn't have any of the panels. We didn't have any of the discussions, none of the Q&A, none of the readings. I mean, it was just 14 of us. And now we've got 60, 65 authors with all the extra discussions and all that. So it's going to be a completely different event this year.
Oh, it's even bigger than I thought. I was thinking 54, 55, because I know some of us are sharing tables, but that's amazing to get up into the 60s. And just think, I mean, we're talking the second year of an event that for it to grow that quickly, I think is amazing.
Yeah. Well, when you get people out there that are kind of known, like, was Roland at last year's?
Yeah.
So Roland's kind of known because he has the whole Written and Read podcast with the others. So I think that, that's a good draw. And, Jamie Hernandez, I think she has a pretty good following.
And we had Miller and we had Harrison.
And Chris Miller,
Of course, Mike Edenbach.
Yep, so. Mike. I adore Mike. I was so happy to meet him. It's going to be a great time. So we just want to do two fun little icebreaker questions. First, that thing that comes into your mind, don't think too hard about it. The first one is Jason versus Michael. Who would win?
Oh, I don't care about who would win. Who do you prefer?
Who do you prefer to win?
Yes. Which side are you on so that we can alienate the other side?
Yeah, that's a really tough one. That's a really tough one. I've thought about that before. And I don't know if I was able to come to a conclusion. I liked both films a lot. I'm gonna go with Jason.
All right, Team Jason. Okay,
That's
Jason. Who I always pick too.
Ding, one for Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're both badasses and they're both pretty mindless, so it'd be a pretty good fight. But I'm in Jason a little bit.
And now, do you prefer vampires or werewolves?
I'm not really a vampire. Well, I hate to say that because one of my favorite movies is a vampire movie, but I'm not normally a vampire guy. I do like werewolves, but one of my favorite horror movies of all time was 30 Days a Night.
And I know that's a pretty good one.
They're not your typical vampire. They're definitely not Twilight vampires. They're not all sparkly and pretty and shit. But I love that movie. I mean, they were pretty filthy and pretty nasty, but they were still vampires, and I love that movie.
Yeah,
that
was a
definitely
really good movie. Yeah. Cool. So one for Team Vampire or one for Team Jason?
Jason.
Yeah.
The eventual winner. So.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So, Eric, if you have a question in mind you want to ask, I've been kind of dominating.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, the whole point of this is to get to know the people a little bit, to the audience can get a chance to see what the person's like, and then also to maybe get an idea of whatever project they're working on now or the book that they want to showcase or anything of that nature. Is there something new you're working on, or have you released something?
So I guess it's been out 3 or 4 weeks now. My latest release was Season Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Was kind of I intended it to be a standalone. It's a kind of a paranormal kind of splattery, um, horror film set in horror novel set in an amusement park. And so I hadn't done anything like that before. I left it open to where I could do a part two if I want to, but kind of leaving it as a one parter. So that just came out. Audible just came out a couple weeks ago, but it's available in all the different ways. But now I'm working on Wicked Awake 5, Dead Friends with Benefits, and that's going to be my. It's a 6-book series, Wicked Awake. It's a zombie series, and so this will be the second to last installment. So I'm hoping to have this thing out in October.
Okay.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, and I was wondering about that because I know that you have that series, Wicked Awake. So is it fun for you to kind of step out of the series and just do a one shot? I mean, did it kind of give you a break from doing it all?
That's exactly why I do it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the series. I love zombies, but I don't know if you guys are the same way. But I get tired of doing the same thing, you know, and especially with a series. I mean, I've written a lot of zombies, and you know, after a while, it starts to get a little bit old, and then not so much that I want to completely get away from it, but it's kind of nice, like you said, to kind of do something a little different for a change, and I don't know. I feel like I have more fun that way. So that's what I've been doing is I alternate. So you know, I just did season pass. Now I'm going back to Wicked again, and then the book after Wicked 5 will be it's something different that I'm working on, but it won't be Wicked Awake. And then after that book, I'll conclude the Wicked Awake series. But I like to alternate. It keeps it fresh. It keeps it more fun for me. And I feel like when I'm having fun writing it, I think the people reading it have more fun. I think they
Have
can
fun.
see that I'm with it.
Yeah, that's what I did with the Dawn series. I was worried that I would get, you know, tied down and then I would get bored before I could get to where I wanted to go with it. So that's why I jump around like I do. That's why it starts, you know, in the 60s and then jumps back to the 1800s and then goes back, you know, there's a 2002 version, there's a 78 version, you know, it's 26. So it jumps around so I can at least pretend like I'm doing something different, even though it's all within that same world and the same characters, or at least the time, you know, timeline of the characters or whatever. So yeah, I totally get that. You need a break. Because you're right, the reader will see that you're getting bored, and they'll pick up
Absolutely.
on it, and that'll drop. Then you know you don't want that to happen until your series is done, right? So,
And so you've got how many of those? 6 of the Dawn books?
yeah, 6 or so. The first 4 collected in the volume 1, and then I've got 2 more paperbacks, and then I've got another one that'll be out before the end of the year.
Very
Ooh,
nice.
nice.
Very nice.
Now, when
Very
you
cool.
started the first Wicked Awake book, did you intend for it to be a series from the start, or did it just evolve to that?
Wow. So that was years ago. That was probably 7, 8 years ago, and I really just started writing that thing for fun. I was a big Walking Dead fan. That was, and I don't want to lose anybody, but that was when I thought it was still pretty good. Uh, and I was still watching it. They lost me, and I know a lot of people like Negan and that whole when Negan came in and killed Glenn and the redheaded guy, they lost me. So I stuck it out a few more episodes, but not much. But anyways, I was really big into The Walking Dead, and so I wanted to write a book. My wife actually kind of challenged me to write a book. She was like, you know, you're always talking about how, you know, those zombies are too fast or this and that. Why don't you write a book about it? And so I kind of did, and it was kind of a challenge from her, but it was also fun. But I never really expected for me to ever publish that thing, and I certainly didn't expect for it to turn into a 6-book series like it is now. After I released the first one, and I saw that some people kind of actually dug it, then I was like, okay. And then I thought about doing another one, but I never had any intentions of doing a 6-book series, and so um, it's a lot of work, and that's I don't know if I'll ever do another series again because it is a lot of work. I mean, I've got to keep a score sheet of
Yeah.
all of the people that you know I introduced throughout the series, and who died and who's still alive and which they carry and all that stuff. So it's on both sides. So it's a lot of work. I don't know if I would do
Yeah.
a series again. You know.
Yeah, and that's great. I love that to hear that your wife challenged you to do it. I mean, my first book is because of my wife, her always mentioning how I need to write a book. You need to do this. You need to do, you know what I mean? Always just care, gently pushing you in towards that path, without being overbearing about it, but kind of challenging you to get it done. So it's always great to see the people behind the scenes that help us get to where we've gotten.
Right.
Exactly.
So, what made you decide to start Texas Author Con?
It started, I think the idea started probably about 3.5 years ago, something like that. So me and Jamie Hernandez, who you've already mentioned, she writes zombies, I write zombies. We were both in the same Facebook group as moderators or featured authors. And so when I learned that she was in Dallas also, we were like, wouldn't it be cool if we do a book signing event somewhere? And so initially the plan was that it was just going to be me and her, the two of us. And so we started to look for a place where the two of us could do a book signing event. And then the next thing you knew, she was like, "Hey, I know, I'm friends with this guy named Nick Stanishek. He writes fantasy, and he's pretty big here in Dallas. He's got books in Barnes and Noble and stuff like that." So we're like, "Okay, well, let's do the three of us." So next thing you know, well, COVID comes along, and that kind of ruined all of our plans. And then so there was a big delay there. But finally, when things were starting to get back to normal, we started to look into a venue for the three of us, and then we found that okay, there's not many spaces, or the hotel that we lined up was big enough for a lot more than just the three people. And that's how Texas Author Con Part One came along. Is we're like, we need more people to fill this room. It's going to look silly if it's just the three of us in there. So that's really how it all started.
And what's amazing is there's not a big book festival really in the DFW area. I mean, there's not really any. I mean, there's Comic Cons and there is a horror festival, but that's more for movies than anything. And they don't really care to include writers that much. So when I heard that you guys were doing that, I thought, well, this is great. It gave me an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone and to be there at the ground level. I always thought that was a big deal. That's what I pushed when I talked to everybody that I knew might be interested, when you were initially looking for more writers to fill up the spot.
Yeah, you were very helpful because you knew a lot of these guys, like Mike and Chris and PC3 and all those that I didn't. So because I'm just now starting to get more into the splatter and the extreme, but I think I'm more known as a zombie writer. So you were super helpful getting all those people together. But and you're right though. That's exactly what I wanted this thing to be. I wanted this to be an event where people could come out, meet us, we can sign books, but I didn't want any. And I'm like you. I'm I don't know if you are. I don't know if you didn't say that, but I'm super introverted. So this like you said. So this is a way for me to get out of my comfort zone, get out there, meet some people, introduce them to myself, and it's not the easiest thing because I am super introverted, but it's good for us. And I definitely didn't want it to be, and I make fun of the other event because I saw their advertisement the other day, and I don't know which one it is, and I hope they don't take offense, but I don't want to be the event that has the green Power Ranger at it. I want to be the event where people go to meet authors, get their books signed, and that's what I want this to be all about.
Yeah, and I know you and I have had this discussion before, but we talked about how we want this event to be one of those events that's author forward in a way that it allows authors to afford the chance to be at a table. Because I know a lot of people will talk about how expensive it is. And I've looked at other events where it can be super expensive to get a table, and it's not even a good table. It's like behind the event, hidden in a corner, and they're still charging an arm and a leg, and it prices out a lot of people. So I do know that was one of the things that we had discussed about, was trying to make this an event that's not only great for the fans, but also allows people the opportunity to get out in front of people and meet their readers and find new readers in a way that isn't going to bankrupt them.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, most of us are indie authors. So we don't have the publisher's pocketbook dangling over us. I mean, as both y'all know, that's the hardest part about self-publishing is just getting your name out. It's not writing the book; it's getting your name out there, being heard, and getting people interested in even picking up your book in the first place. So that's what this is all about: is catering to the indie authors. And like you said, we've got it priced to where we can everyone can afford a table. Nobody's making money on this event. The money that we make from the tables is just covering the hotel cost, the cost of the insurance. This isn't, I never intended to be an event coordinator or anything like that. I'm doing this so that I can get out there, so y'all can get your books out there, and so that I can meet. I already met Eric, but I want to meet Donna. I want to meet Wiley Young. I want to meet Heather Miller, Candace Nola, all Jay Bowser, DW Hits. I mean, these I want to meet, and I know I'm going there so people can meet me, but I want to meet those people just as badly as I want me to. I mean, that's what this is all about. I mean, so I'm excited.
So saying that, we can say the elephant in the room that Texas Author Con isn't just for Texas authors. We're having a lot of people come from out of the state. And so really, I always say it's two things. It's an attitude. Texas Author Con's an attitude. And then we're looking for writers that have established and present that attitude towards the readers. And also that it's just the location. We're in Texas. So, but I had more than one person say, well, this doesn't sound like it's only Texas authors. And that's true. But that's that's the whole point. We're an exclusive, we're not being exclusive. We're an inclusive event. We want everybody to come. And we want people to make the attempt, if they can, from farther away to come to the event.
Right. So we never intended to exclude anybody. I really didn't think that we would draw people from outside. I mean, Texas is huge. I would have never guessed that Rebecca Rowland would be up in Boston, Massachusetts, would say, hey, I want to come to your event. Jason Nickey coming from West Virginia. I had no idea. I really didn't think that we would draw like that. And we have, but you're right. I mean, the majority of the authors are from Texas, but by all means, we're open to everybody.
And we're not all going to be horror. There are a couple writers that are in different genres and stuff. Now, we're going to lean towards horror. I mean, what was it? 75% of us last time was horror, and I'm probably going to say 60 to 70% are again. But I mean, within the horror genre, there are so many different kinds that you'll find something. But there are going to be some science fiction writers, some fantasy writers. There's going to be some. Did we get the romance writers?
Romance writers. We got some poets.
Nice.
A lot of post-apocalyptic. Did I say that right? Zombie. We got some authors who write a little bit of everything. Look at Dicey Grenner writes probably 4 or 5 different genres. Enigma, he writes a ton of different stuff. We got Juan Garcia coming up. He writes a lot of cryptic and stuff. So we got, there's all kinds of stuff here. We've got, my one regret is I really was hoping to get a lot more Western authors, and I've won. So hey, if you're listening out there, Western writers, join us next year, because I've got one, and his name is Chris Mullen. And so if I tell you what, if we get any Western fans out there, he's going to score big, because he's the only one we got. But I'm hoping next year we'll get a lot more than that.
Yeah, but not only though, but I mean, technically we do have quite a few Western. We have a lot of splatter Western guys.
Westerns,
We're going to have the first 4 or maybe 5 released authors of that series at the event. So that'll be really cool too. So if you like a little blood and guts mixed in with your Western, you're going to get that. If you like a bone tomahawk, you're going to like these guys and their books.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I forgot. But I mean, C. Derek Miller, Wiley, PC3, Chris Miller. That you're right. They're all right.
Mike Annenbach.
Yeah. Glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I have to definitely build up my collection of splatter westerns. I was actually having a conversation with Chris Miller the other night because I'm reading his book, The Damned Place. And when I read an author's book that I am friends with on Facebook, I have no problems going into their DMs going, what in the hell did you do? Why did you? So I was messaging him about something, and he ended up telling me that Dust was kind of like part of that world. So there's The Damned Place, The Damned Ones, and then Dust, his splatter. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to picking that up.
And the fun thing about Chris is that while he dabbles in extreme horror, he doesn't like to live in extreme horror.
Yeah.
He's more of a crime fiction, hard nosed. He's got a great detective series over on Godless, which I'm not sure if he'll have hard copies at the event or not. But if you like that kind of stuff, if you like the 50s gumshoe kind of stories, you need to go check out Chris Miller's stuff. And we'll have him on here talking about all that so we can get more into that. But it just goes to show you, I mean, here's a guy that is known for splatter, but also does so much more. And you're going to find that at every table, I think. You're going to find a large selection of interesting and just fun books.
Yeah. Lake Morgan's another one. She writes a lot of zombie stuff, but she writes a lot of historic. What do you call it? Historic horror? What is it called?
Yeah, I guess, it's like historic fiction, but I mean, she's got like the Titanic one.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're based in a historical event, but it's she flips it, puts it in a horror kind of setting.
Wow.
So
was that Brianna Morgan you said?
Oh, Alethea Morgan.
Alethea Morgan. Okay.
And I think Rebecca Rowland and is it I can't remember the other one, but they came out with that anthology just recently. That's got I think
the Cannibal.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's
American Cannibal. Yeah,
right. So that's an example of some of those stories too. So there's a lot of that out there as well.
Yeah, and another fun thing will be that a lot of the authors are going to have anthologies that they're in. So you'll find maybe you buy an anthology at one table, but you'll notice that 4 or 5 of those authors are at the event. You can go walk around and get them to sign the books and do all that kind of stuff, and then get introduced to their other stuff that they do. So there's a lot of cool things that you'll be able to find. And to have, like you said, 60 something authors there for you to interact with, you're going to find something.
Speaking of that, I wanted to mention real quick, is our Head Blown anthology, which is actually it's the Texas Author Con's extreme horror short story anthology. And so what we're doing is we're going to have that available at the event too. So we'll have the paperbacks there. So like you said, there's going to be about 20 different authors. Almost all of them will be at the event. So people can grab that paperback when they get there and walk around and get everybody that participated and contributed a story. They can get everybody to sign that bad boy for them.
Kind of like a treasure hunt. You got to go find the.
Be a part of that book as well. And Eric, I think you might have something for us. So
I might have something for you. We'll have to talk about that.
Very good.
Yeah. So as a reader, because I write, but I don't think of myself as an author, and Mike Annenbach will yell at me for saying that.
As he should.
But as a reader, I think these events are really important because I like to connect with the people whose stuff I read, and I read a lot. I read a lot of books. I'm already up to 75 books this year.
Wow.
And when I know someone and I can get their personality and see how much of a nice and decent person they are and just a pleasure to be around, I will buy everything that person puts out. It may take me a year to get to it. But I will buy every book that person puts out, and I won't find fault with it. And obviously, if it's a truly bad book, Eric knows this. If it's a truly bad book, I will be like, ugh. And
that's not because it's one of my books. It's because we just read one that was truly bad on the podcast and talked about it. So The Last Werewolf we did not enjoy. So
I think it's great that this event exists for the Dallas area, because if there was nothing like this, I went to Northeast Comic-Con not too long ago, and there were 2 authors there.
Wow.
The majority of people were selling either Funko Pops or Legos.
Wow.
There were 2 authors there.
But it's difficult to go in. It's almost like going into the enemy's, behind enemy lines and say, "Hey, look at me! Look how much different I am than everybody else here." So some people just aren't tuned into that when they go to these events. They're looking for Funkos and comics and art. They're not looking to see the next writer. That's why this event's so amazing.
They're not
because
here.
Yeah.
they're gonna find a lot of great fiction here and a lot of fun authors and a lot of fun readings and panel. The panels I haven't talked about that much, but we've got a fantasy panel, we've got a monsters, what do we call it? Monsters versus man panel. We've got a panel with all post-apocalyptic authors. I mean, we got 4 or 5 different panels going. So I mean, it's going to be a good time and entertaining, as well as a chance to meet all your favorite authors out there.
And it's a 2-day event. So on the website, we'll make sure to have the schedule posted so you can see as we get closer when readings are happening, when the panels are, so that you can be there for those things. Because they'll be spread between the 2 days, but there'll be a lot of readings too. And those are fun to go and support, your favorite writer or discover a new one as they're up there bearing their souls to you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I'm sure it takes a lot to get in front of people and read your work. So kudos to anybody that can do a reading. Because I don't know if I could do it, honestly.
I'm with you. I did not sign up for a slot in the room, and I'm going to be, like I said, I'd be the guy hiding behind my desk when my time was there. So I didn't sign up for one either. I don't have. I'm too introverted to get out in front of people.
Maybe that's the panel we need to do. Is you and I need to do. We'll take Donna too, and we'll do an introvert panel. We'll just lock the door, and we'll just sit there and talk to each other for a few minutes, and then go be done with it. So, yeah, I'm the same way.
Eric doesn't truly believe I'm an introvert, but I really am.
No, because she gets pleasure and excitement out of doing these events, right? So it always.
But
blows
it's
my
only
mind.
these events.
Yeah, I know. I'll go.
AuthorCon, I was super excited because I knew like 60% of the authors that were going, and I consider them friends or family. And I knew a bunch of the readers that were going to be there. These are my people.
That's what I'm hoping for with Texas AuthorCon. Like you said, wouldn't it be cool if we get the same readers we had last year, plus more, and then next year there's those people plus more, growing on that, but seeing familiar faces. It's always nice to have somebody that you talk to on Facebook or Twitter, or that from the prior events to show up and say hi and visit and all that stuff. I think that's really cool to see that grow. And I really am confident that we're going to have a good showing this year.
I think so. So you were talking about readers who actually showed up for the event, and I know you remember Billy, because Billy Barth, the one who went to literally everybody's table last year and bought. I think he bought every book in the house that he didn't have already. So it's guys like that who make this event what it is. I mean, he was just he was a blast. That guy was so fun. And so we've communicated, me and him. I think he's communicated with a lot of different authors on Facebook. But to meet him in real, in person, and then to get to see how cool of a dude he was, and then like I said, he was so supportive of all of us. I mean, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, definitely. It was nice to see just the people that came, who maybe weren't able to buy any of the books, but they came just to support us, give us some, talk to us, spare some time, that kind of thing. That was really nice too.
And we had a couple, and remember towards the end there, we had the two future authors. They're just starting out, and they were kind of going around and just kind of picking our brains. They were like, kind of, hey, how did you do this? And so they were really, I think they were really grateful that we spent the time that we did with them, because they're wanting to someday be sitting right next to us in another table right at the next event.
Yeah, it was really cool to meet the people that were trying to figure out what the first step was, and what we could do to help get them on that path. That's always fun. It's always rewarding to be able to share some of the secrets, because a lot of the secrets we stumbled ourselves. We didn't have anybody. We didn't know who to ask. So it was nice to be able to pass some of that on, because some of the stuff's obvious and some of it is buried, and you really have to dig to find, how to do this stuff at a way that you're not, killing your bank account.
Yeah. Right. Or if you're like me and you don't like to ask for help, so you just stumble through it anyways and try to just, oops, I messed that up. Well, better luck next time.
Yeah, you can avoid that. Just stop at the table and talk to people and check out the event. So,
yeah, I have a couple friends who live in the Dallas area, so that I haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. The last time I was in Dallas was 2011. I was out there for like 3 weeks working in
Wow.
August. It was awful.
That's
So I'm going to try to get them to come by the event, not only to see me, but to, hopefully wander around the event and maybe pick up some books and meet some other
Yeah.
people.
So it's a free event. There's air conditioning and there's people there. And we don't just have books. There's going to be a couple people that sell merchandise. There's going to be a guy, Mike Davis, there with the table that he's going to be selling vintage paperbacks. So if you're big into paperbacks of horror, if you like the old stuff, he's going to have a table full of that. He'll probably have some other merch. We said no, we were not going to have Funko and stuff, but if anybody's going to, it's going to be this guy. But it'll all be horror centric. So that's always cool too. So don't think that it's all one thing. Everybody at every table will probably have a little bit of something. I know Megan's bringing special stickers that'll be for that event only, just like she did with Scares That Care. So I mean, there'll be things that you can collect and look at and visit each table and stuff. So
and then so we're gonna have gift bags as you come in. At least we're gonna have at least 200. We may end up getting more than that, but I'm thinking probably the first 100 that show up each day, I think we'll probably get a little gift bag on the way in. But more importantly, every single hour on the hour, both days, we're going to have door prizes where you can win a signed book by one of the authors that's there. So, but you got to have you have to have the free ticket from Eventbrite.com. I mean, anybody is welcome to come in the doors, but if you wanted to be eligible for those door prizes, go to Eventbrite.com. Find Texas AuthorCon, get you that free ticket, bring that with you.
We'll put the link underneath this. And so you guys just click the link and fill it out. And then you'll be a chance to win something.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a really great time. I saw some pictures from last year. Chris, I'm coming to harass you about your mayonnaise. He knows what that means, Chris Miller.
Yes, everybody bring Chris a jar of mayonnaise.
Hellman's mayonnaise.
Yeah. And a lot of people were goofing on Patrick Harrison last year because he had a little kitchen area behind his table there. So a lot of people were asking him to make sandwiches and stuff too. So
oh gosh.
Yeah, it was an interesting setup, and it was a nice room. But you and I had been to this hotel's room. We were looking at different events, and Merrill was nice enough to have me go with them. Put in my 2 cents, and we walked in there, and I thought it looked really nice. So
yeah,
the room is spacious, and it looks, there's plenty of room to get around. There's going to be a nice section for the panels and the stuff, but it's not off site. Everything's in this one location,
in one place. Yep.
So you don't have to worry about getting lost in the hotel or wandering off or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
And very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful, and there's a very nice lounge restaurant area within, where I got a feeling if people want to be hanging out after the event, you may run into some of your favorite authors kicking back and drinking a cold one in there.
Yeah,
so there wasn't just one spot.
Right?
There was tons of areas where you could go and disappear. And if you got your book and you sat down, you could read your book and you'd be totally off the grid in this hotel. Yeah, these obviously aren't the tables that we're going to have set up, but this is the room I think that we are in or it.
Yeah.
But we'll have normal long tables.
Yeah, it'll be
full
set
of merch.
with the tables and not the round table. That's more like a banquet hall, but yes, it's set up differently. But that, as you said, the main like the lobby area and the lounge area. There's a lot of water features in there. There's a lot of plants. I mean, it's really a cool hotel.
Yeah, very
I like
nice.
The studio lounge. That's pretty.
And I'll tell you, the thing I liked the most about it was it's right off the highway.
Yeah,
it's right off the rail. So if you travel with the rail system, you can get right off at the place, do your shopping, get right back on, and go home.
Nice.
There's it's going to be easy to find, close to the airport, sort of, and it's closer than the last event. And then here's the books that.
Yeah, so these are Merrill's. I was actually just looking at Season Pass today.
Yeah, I know, it looks really cool. I love that cover.
Yeah.
Thank you. So to the right, the bottom right is Head Blown. So that's our Texas AuthorCon anthology that I was talking about. So that's what that one is right there. And actually, you can if when you go to Eventbrite to get your free tickets for the event, you can actually go there to buy the paperback if you like, and then that way we'll have the book waiting for you as you show up at the door.
Oh,
There you
wow. That's a
go.
great feature. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Good to know. Yeah, I love these covers. They're very eye-catching, all of them.
Thank you. Fester was my first departure from the zombie world and my first attempt at trying to do a little bit of splatter. And
Well, you know, it's funny. You said that before. You said you do zombie, not splatter, but I always think of zombie as splatter.
Yeah.
I mean, the extreme horror in my mind, you know. So
yeah, I write my zombie books as kind of splatterish. I mean, I make them pretty filthy, but yeah, I agree. They can be, depending on how you write them, they can be pretty splattery themselves.
Yeah,
I was
Jamie
on.
Hernandez's zombie book, Urban Gridlock, is the one I've read by her. It's not
Yeah.
very splattery.
Yeah,
Well-
you're right. It's not very splattery, but it is really good. And I think she just released that on Audible.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
3-book series, and I read. I think I read the first 2. I haven't read the third one yet, but they're really good. Richard Rose is going to be at the event. He was there last year. He'll be here again. He does zombies, and they're in a world with like Sasquatches.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff.
yeah, that's really good. Wild Eyed Southern Boys is his series. So yeah, there's going to be a ton of.
Oh,
good
yeah, I've seen that. I think I have one on my Kindle from him when you said the name. Yeah.
Yeah. He just recently had the covers redone. Initially, they kind of were a little bit more cartoony. And so he didn't care for them too much. So he just went and found, I forget the name of the cover artist, somebody in another country. And I tell you what, those new covers they're sensational. They are really, really good.
That's cool. I like the old covers though. I kind of liked it when they do that, but
I did,
I'm
but-
excited to see the new one. So
Yeah.
all right, well,
Yeah.
cool. This has been great. We wanted to get this
Yeah.
first one done and out there, and then we're going to start interviewing, like I said, all the authors of the event that want to do this. So there may be 1 or 2 that we don't get to, but we're going to try and get out all 60 plus of them on here, and then we'll release it. And all the links are going to be below. So you look for the link for the event site. You're going to look for a link for Merrill's stuff. We'll have his author page. We'll have his Amazon stuff. And then you can go check out these books, or you can get, your wish list ready for the event.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you again, Merrill, for joining us. It's been quite a pleasure. I'm looking forward to meeting you in a few months.
I'm excited to meet you too. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
All right. We'll see y'all later.